Good morning. Fresh out the bed. I would like to say that I had a wonderful night. I didn't sleep good, but I made it through it. There's a pen pal I have who always says any day above ground is a good day. I guess that all depends on who you're asking. I don't know if a person is ready for death or not based on the condition of their physical body, their physical condition. And just because they paralyzed from the neck down does not mean that they are ready to die. They may want to continue to live, but sometimes they can't express themselves when they are lay down and can't move or speak. And I oftentimes think about my daughter Chastity. Chastity's birthday was March 22nd. She would have been 34, I believe. I always have to add numbers up. I just can't pop it off the top of my head like that anymore. I know it's March 22nd, 1986. But I think about things like that, and I think deep about them. One lady I used to work with told me, I think too much. You think too much. I didn't engage in the room with people a whole lot. I got drugged once and it turned my life around completely. Like it did this with my mind. And I woke up in a hospital and I was strapped down. And I was naked. And it turned my life around. It did. I no longer became outward. I became inward. And I try hard to come out of it. I do in little bits. To see a whole lot of people at once can be overwhelming. But not to see any at all would be frightening. I love others. I just have a hard time believing in people anymore. But I say I have to believe in them until they give me reason not to, you know? But it's still frightening when we go out. And then you got people who target small children and they sell them for a profit, and that's frightening. You may say the wrong thing to someone and piss them off, all because you're not allowed to speak your mind. You're not allowed to speak freely. You're not allowed to express yourself. Hold on, I need some water. And it's frightening. And that's where I live. And little children aren't safe at all. You got somebody out there watching them. Waiting and watching the perfect time. Just to snatch them up. My heart goes out to the mothers and the fathers who have a child that has gone missing and they don't know where to find them. My heart goes out to that person. I pray with them sometimes. You think that, I guess sometimes maybe people are quiet because they are praying a lot and hoping and praying for the safety of others and everybody around them. Say hey, bow, look. Sometimes you can look at a person and don't see no welcome in being friendly. The way they look at you sometimes is as if they really want to kill you. And that can be frightening too. And what's even more frightening is that we think that it's not okay for white people to be that way to us. But it's okay for us to be that way one to the other. That's more frightening right there. For you to think that you can kill me and you're going to be forgiven by this supernatural power that nobody can see, hear, talk, speak, but you keep on speaking about it, but you can't give no true revelation, no occurrence, no interaction with this. Because if you're the only one who interacting with it, people are going to call you delusional and say you're hallucinating, because that's just how a lot of people feel. That if a ghost came to you, either you got someone pulling a horrible trick on you and playing with your mind, or you really delusional or hallucinating. If you really thought you seen a ghost. It don't have to necessarily be a ghost. It could be the shadow of a rat on the floor. It could be a tree limb into a window. But that when a ghost is supposed to be white. A shadow is supposed to be black. Okay? So if you saw the shadow of a rat side the wall, or what if a bat flew past and you thought you saw something flying? And what if the white was a streak of lightning in the distance or made something brighten up outside? Just that lightning that sits way back in the distance, but when it flickers, you can see. I mean, I don't know. Is it really happening to that person? If so, then is it really someone physically there messing with them and making them think that and whispering things in their ears while they're asleep? You don't know. You don't. But then they really in their heart and in their mind say they seen a ghost, and say that someone may have been God who said he spoke to them. I don't know. It could be somebody playing a horrible trick on them, trying to get them committed into a hospital so that they can take all of the money away from them. We see so many interesting shows on TV of occurrences, of reasons that a person kill somebody else. Most of the time, it's not advertised that greatly, because I think that it's a certain person that they don't bring out in the news, but if you go back and read, you'll see some things that are interesting that don't always make the news. It's like I don't think that a picture should be shown of the person who's been accused. I don't think that anybody should be able to go there and get their address and their mug shots. And they haven't even been to court yet. They haven't even been into the courtroom yet, and they have not been found guilty. But you just got all their business advertised everywhere. And they haven't even been proven guilty yet. Not unless they you know beyond shadow of a doubt that they killed that person. You have all the evidence and everything and eyewitnesses right here on the spot, and they say yes, he did, he killed him, and blah blah blah, and you take them away in cuffs, and they should all be led away in cuffs. Even if they've done all of that, there should be no street justice. There should be no street justice. Not anybody should be doing it. And if anybody do it, then they should be held accountable. And if you the one who hold people accountable, You should never pull your trigger when you can take them down otherwise. They ain't trying to kill you out in the open public. What makes it okay for you to kill them in the open public? Thou shalt not kill. All our rights taken away. Because those that wrote the laws said thou shalt. They didn't say we. Thou. Thou is thou. You. Me. But that particular branch of the government, a thing that took away parental rights, took parental rights away from others, and it circles around us. They made their self the center of our universe. And we have to feed into them and what they want. We got to stop fueling cancer. We got to. Until they do better by us, we should not fuel their cancers. But that's frightening. I'm trying to make it to 120. Just because it's 120 don't mean it's going to be a better life. Well, I want to see 150 because I'm persuaded in my mind if I keep on living, it's going to get better. I believe that if I keep on living, see, this little thing right here, this little old gal, cow gal, what my daddy used to call me. Cow gal, cowling girl, baby girl. My dad just had a birthday in February. Oh, people would say, you know, Charlie, that ain't your child. You know she don't belong to you and blah, blah, blah. You know, a white man, her daddy. And my dad used to say, my name on the birth certificate, that make her mine. My dad always treated me with kindness and in a loving manner. My dad has never molested me. My dad never touched me like that or made me feel uncomfortable in that manner. He never did that to me, never. And I want to say thank you, Charlie Flop. Because there may have to have been a hush. Because, you know, you hear how people who were abused were threatened and lived in complete fear in their home. Oh my gosh. That has to be real, real horrible on a child. And then once they get free, they still not going, they not freed in their mind. I think that counseling and talking about it with a counselor and not just one person. It shouldn't just be one person around them during counseling. And they shouldn't have to sleep in a room by themselves. Maybe they could share a room with the sibling who might could come stay in a room with them at the hospital while they recover. In a room that you don't just barge into in the middle of the night. You knock. And you not, because they dealt with that barging into the room in the middle of the night. And here they are in a strange place, and they trust and they know no one. And yet, you think you can just barge into their room, even though it's a hospital in the middle of the night. You need to call their room. Call them or tell them, we're going to be calling your room to let you know when we coming in, okay? Trauma. They traumatized. They need to start talking about it as soon as it's found out. Help the healing to start, to let them know, to talk it out, to write it out. Get it out of your head. Get it out of your head. If you can't talk it out with someone, talk it out by yourself. Hell, get it out of your head and analyze. Analyze. That's going to be like another opinion that is not there at that moment, okay? That's how I see it. It's two, they said it, more than one side in the brain, ain't it? We got a left and a right. We got a left and a right. You got the brain that does so many unique different things, and one thinks, and the other dreams, and the other remembers smell, the other give you motor skills, blinking, smelling, coughing, all of those things that we can safely say our brains do those things. It's like this little thingy up in here. It's called lice. It's lice. It's a teeny tiny little old molecule that looks like, this is not going to be my little opinion of what he looks like. Have you seen Men in Black? And there's this little, when the doctor face comes off, there's this little tiny being that lives inside of it. Well, I think that the one that lives inside of us is smaller. Something is turning the wheel of life inside of us. Something gives us the ability to maintain this body with knowledge that it's happening. There's knowledge right now that those things are happening to me. And that little old thing in there is turning them wheels some kind of way. It's just up in there, just driving along. Just driving along. That's the one life that our body has. It's just one. And it's so tiny. It's so tiny. The life that lives inside of us. If it was not so tiny, we would be able to see it. Others would be able to see it when it leaves your body. But you can't see it because look at sperm. You can't look at it with your eye. That's life. So to think that it does not live around us until it can come some type of form that can live and reproduce and reproduce and reproduce to help keep the earth a-going. Reproduce blood cells. We're blood cells reproducing to help keep the earth going. Then you got people telling you you shouldn't be a mother. It was one of the greatest joys that I have ever known is to have that baby. I added to this planet. I was happy to be able to do so. My children, I enjoyed being with my children. I enjoyed the time that I spent raising them. It was so wonderful to me. It really was. I knew I wanted to be a mother. I knew that I wanted to be a mother. I used to love to get little children home to play like they little dolls. They were just so beautiful. And just to hold on them the way my grandma used to do me. Hold on them and get them to sleep. That was like the shit. To get in your grandmama's lap and when you wake up, you might still be in her lap and she knocked out. You snuggle way back in and going back to sleep. That's the shit. That's the time. That's the time. My grandmother used to sit there and hum and rock me to sleep. It's like the safest place that I have ever fallen asleep. Was in my grandmother's arms. Loving person to me. I can't speak for everybody else. I can only speak for myself and what my grandmother was to me and my grandfather. My grandmother, my mother, my father, my dad. Those, it's like my love and my respect for them, they all sit on the same pedestal right there. And it's a big old pedestal. And yet they real small because sometimes others really don't care. That's your pedestal. That's where you put them at. Well, yes, and I do. But my birth mother and my birth father, although their pedestal is greater. Even though I love all of these people dearly and respect all of them and have nothing but mad love for them, they pedestal might, because I really didn't know my birth father that much. I would know him if I were to see him. If we talked, you know. If I were to call him and ask him for something, he would give it to me. That wasn't that often because I really didn't know him. Not like that. Because he didn't come around. I just know that once we were in Texas and I needed some money to help me get my transmission fixed with, and he did that, you know. And I told him what it was. I told him what was going on with the car. And I knew that he was a mechanic. And I called him and I asked him. I don't even remember how. I think he may have given me his number a long time ago. And you know how you lose phones and things? And you lose numbers. And I lost his number, you know. And I never memorized it because that's how little I called it, you know. I don't think he wanted to be my dad. Because if he'd have really wanted to be my dad, then he would have said, I want to know if she my daughter, then, you know, I would like to be a part of her life. And that it is what it is. And if he's a good person and you see no reason to feel threatened by him doing anything to your child, he should be allowed to be a part of her family, a part of her life. If he come to see her, he don't have to take her to his family if his wife does not accept this child. Child ain't got nothing to do with it. Women in Africa different. Yeah, they are. Those are our cultures and our traditions. Maybe you have settled for one man, but that don't mean that he gonna settle for you, or vice versa. He may have settled for one woman for whatever the reasons may be, and she might not have settled for one man. Not yet. He might not be bringing the conversation that she needs from somebody over here. His conversation might be in front of the TV, and she need to talk. Well, this is her partner in life, and they sharing the same address, and they have mad love for the same things in that house, and truly want the house to be built up, and their conversations may be arguments because one or the other may not want to build it up. But yet they still together, and for some odd reason, they both love each other. But some arguments make another person feel insecure when you strike out at their character, their personality, their size. Those is low blows with your mouth. See, that's verbal abuses towards you to keep you torn down with words and hate. Gotta be hate, because you're not gonna tear down what you love. They say a wise man builds it up, but a fool tears down where they live. Be it she, be it he, it doesn't matter. If you're not going to be the wind beneath the wings, don't be the storm in their life. All the rain and the downpours that come in their life come from you. That's not love. It's twisted. You just love to do it. It's two different things. You love to twist it around, to treat them with hate and say, I love you. Or won't even say, I love you. Do you love me? You don't answer them. You won't even answer them. It make them wonder, well, do you love me? And then they get fucked up in the head and stuck on it because that person is looking for acceptance. Because somebody never accepted them. Although you can thank you for birthing me into this world, but I just didn't feel accepted by my mother for whatever the reason may be. But I want to thank her for sparing my life, because she could have got rid of me, but she didn't. She could have got rid of me in the womb, and I would have been a spirit that never got a chance to see this earth, or to have wait a very, very, very long time to get it in this form. Because we don't see a whole lot of people being born. We're being told they not okay. It's not okay to have babies. Babies is bad. Babies is bad. Babies is bad. And people are believing that in their head, and somebody done fucked them up somewhere with what they don't want. Don't push what you don't want down my throat. I should not have to live with it. Babies are not bad. Bad people. Tell them that. And beat them. Beat them with no mercy. Power. It's frightening. It's frightening. Because you got people out there who really do hate children. They really hate children. You got people out there that would kidnap your child and go sell them over there to a complete stranger who want to buy them. Kind of shit going on today. Still happening. Human trafficking. Whatever they trafficking them for. We don't know. It could be harvesting their organs, and we think it's sex. We don't know. You never know. You never know who doing it. You never know who behind it. Have mercy. Have mercy for others. Dear sweeter, let us have mercy. Let us show one another mercy. If we can't show one another mercy, we really need to walk and look down to the ground in disgust because of how bad we have become and are being to one another. Here we are, we reaching over there, telling these people that we don't even know that you gotta like me when you don't like your own neighbor. Who the hell are you supposed to be? Who in the hell am I supposed to be that I act like I'm that bold, that I gotta make you fucking like me? I gotta make you tell me I'm okay? No. Power to snap out of that shit, because I am not God's property, and God ain't done told me that I am always up there on the pedestal in everybody else's life, and I'm better than everybody else, or I'm this and I'm that. No. Power to respect another person's life.